Hello, this is Yogeshwar again, and I'm back with another interesting video in the series for transit of Saturn, which is happening on November the 2nd, 2014. And in our previous videos, we did discuss about the effect of Saturn transit, which was discussed for the zodiac signs of Aries through Virgo, both as an ascendant and as a moon sign. And this video will discuss about the moon sign of Libra and also the ascendant of Libra. As I've already explained in my previous videos to you, that the ancient scriptures say that the Gochara, which in Sanskrit means transit, should be looked at from the moon sign and not from the ascendant. However, research which has been conducted recently by astrologers have indicated that the ascendant also should be looked at while there is a transit, and the transit should be looked at from the ascendant as well. So I would recommend, although I will say that the moon sign makes much more sense, the ascendant also will make sense as far as the transits are concerned. So both the ascendants of the zodiac sign of Libra, which you see on the screen as number 7, and the moon sign of Libra, which you will see in your birth chart as the moon sitting in your natal chart in the zodiac sign of Libra, which is number 7. That will be the moon sign. Both should look at this video and see what the effects of Saturn will be for the next 2.5 years for them. As you know, that Saturn is a very important planet. It's a slow planet. It stays in one zodiac sign for approximately 2.5 years. So people are very curious and very inquisitive to know as to what the effects will be. And this video will discuss about exactly what the transit effect of Saturn will be when it moves from the zodiac sign of Libra into Scorpio. Now, as you know, that there is something called a Sati, people who are familiar with astrology, which is a 7.5 years, the dreaded period of 7.5 years for Saturn. And it happens when Saturn transits the 12th from the moon sign, the first from the moon sign, meaning which over the moon sign, and the second from the moon sign. And it stays in one zodiac sign, as we know, for 2.5 years. So this entire consecutive movement of Saturn from the 12th house from the moon through the second house from the moon is a total of 7.5 years, and it affects all of us, and it gives all kinds of problems, tensions, not for everybody, but in general, yes, it is a dreaded period. So for the moon sign of Libra, as you can see on the screen, since Saturn is moving from the moon sign into Scorpio, which will be the second house from the moon sign, they will still be under their 7.5 years period. However, this time Saturn will move from the moon sign into their second house, although they still will be under the 7.5 years period, which is, like I just mentioned, a very tough time, very challenging time. And I have recommended in my previous videos as well that people who are undergoing this Sati, or 7.5 years of period of Saturn, should be undergoing a lot of remedies related to Saturn especially, and there are other remedies as well, which I'm not going to be discussing in this video. Other than Saturn, people can pray to Shiva, or there are some remedies which kind of balances the evil effects or the bad effects, or kind of subdues the bad effects to some extent. And we'll have a video on that in our next, not the next one, but some later video, definitely. But for now, consult an expert Vedic astrologer, especially for the people who are undergoing the 7.5 year Saturn transit period. They have to go to an expert Vedic astrologer, and I will recommend that they can get their remedies done to make the evil effects of Saturn a little subtle for them, make it bearable for them. So as you can see on the screen, Saturn is going to be moving into the second house for the moon sign of Libra. And like I said earlier, that people with the ascendant of Libra, also look at this video and see how the effect is going to be, because along with the moon sign, the ascendant of the Libra zodiac sign will also be affected. So in the second house, when it moves on November the 2nd, 2014, the second house represents what? It represents family, it represents wealth, it represents speech. So all kinds of good things it represents. So when Saturn transits the second house, you are bound to see problems in those areas. So be extremely careful. And the aspect from the second house is the third house aspect. It is going to aspect into the fourth house, which is the house of real estate, home comforts, mother, mental peace, so on and so forth. So be very, very careful about the health of your mother, about your home and domestic happiness, your mental peace per se, because Saturn is going to be aspecting from the second house into the fourth house. So that also could be a little challenging. And also the seventh house aspect, which will go into the eighth house. And the eighth house, as you know, is a house of longevity. Basically, the ancient texts say that the eighth house placement of Saturn is not all that bad, but this time it's a transit. It is not a placement based on the natal chart. So be very careful, both for the moon sign of Libra and as well as the ascendant of Libra. Like I said, moon sign has to be given first preference. Ascendants of Libra also are going to be affected in a similar fashion, but not to the extent the moon sign will be getting affected. So once again, people with the moon sign of Libra, and what a moon sign is, that where your moon is sitting. If moon is sitting in number 7 or Libra in your natal or your Rashi or your Lagna chart, then your moon sign is Libra. And people with the ascendant Libra also should look at it from the angle of transit of Saturn related to this video. Now going to the 10th house aspect of Saturn, which will come from the Saturn transit for 2.5 years into Scorpio. And the 10th house aspect is going to be on the 11th house. And the 11th house generally is not a bad house for Saturn's placement. So there could be some challenges related to income. However, it will not do a lot of harm, because Saturn placement generally in the natal chart in the 11th house is considered not to be bad, but in transit it could create some challenges. However, it may not create those kind of challenges, as it would be affected related to the second house. So 11th house, I would not worry too much about it. 8th house, I would not worry too much about it. But the second house, of course, which is related to wealth and family, and the 4th house, which is related to mother, mental peace, and domestic happiness, is the challenging area. So people have to get remedies done. And like I said, Saturn is always not bad. Saturn has been given the responsibility by the divine to give us rewards for our good deeds and punishment for our bad deeds. And as we go along in this life and all the accumulated karma in our previous lives, it comes actually as a blessing to us to cleanse us out of these bad deeds and give rewards to us. So you will see whenever there is a transit, it's not going to be completely bad, it's not going to be completely good. It's going to be a mix of everything. And also you will see that your other planets are also going to be transiting. Those planets, like say for example Jupiter is transiting in your birth chart. So you have to see what the effect of Jupiter is. Maybe it has a good effect. So if it has a good effect in its transit while Saturn is transiting for 2.5 years in the second house, which is giving a challenge because it's transiting first in the second house, and secondly it's still into the Sade Sati period. But in case Jupiter, which is a great benefic, is actually giving you good effects, then the bad effects or the evil effects of Saturn can be nullified, can be balanced to some extent. So do not consider this completely bad. It can give some good effects because of the good effects of other transits of other planets. Also, as I've explained in my previous video, you could be running your dasha, which is the main period, period, which is the Antardasha, and the sub period, which could be the Pratyantardasha of a good planet. So again, once again, although you may be in your Sade Sati and your last phase of Sade Sati, which is the 2.5 years period, which will go into the second house through the zodiac sign of Scorpio, it may be challenging. However, if the dasha, Antardasha or Pratyantardasha, meaning period, sub-period or sub-period, is good for you, because it's a good planet for you, then the evil effects can be nullified to a great extent. So look out for it. And like I said, certain houses aspects may not be that challenging, but yes, second house and fourth house will be challenging, both for the zodiac sign of Libra as an ascendant and as a moon sign, more so as a moon sign once again. So just continue doing your remedies and believe in the divine, and I'm sure everything will be okay. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend check out my website and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you with another topic in my next video. Thank you.